Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Learn Commerce with Namita. I am Namita Mane. In today's session, let us try to understand what is shares and types of shares. So let's start. So first we'll see what is a share. Share is the total capital of the company. Okay, so the total capital of the company is divided into number of small unit of equal value is called as shares. So total capital means the authorized capital of the company is divided into number of small units of equal value is called as shares. Now for example, if the capital is 1 lakh rupees and this 1 lakh rupees is divided into 1000, okay, 1000 shares, and the value of 1000 share is 100 rupees each share, means one share is of 100 rupees. So if you multiply 1000 by 100, so you get the total capital 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so this the divided shares, the total capital which is divided into the small units, that is 1000, is nothing but shares. Okay, and the price of the share is equal. So this is share. So now we'll move to the types of shares. Now types of shares. Under section 43 of the Company Act 2003, a company may issue two types of shares. So as per the section 43 of Company Act 2013, a company can issue only two types of shares. Which are those? First is preference shares and equity shares. So company can issue only these two shares as per section 43 of Company Act 2013. Next is preference shares. Now what are preference shares? Basically, preference shares are those shares which carry the following two rights. So preference shares are those shares which has two rights. So the rights are: first right, they have a right to receive dividend. Preference shareholders have right to receive dividend at a fixed rate before any dividend is paid on the equity shares. So before any dividend is paid to equity shares, so preference shares have the first right to receive the dividend at fixed rate. Okay. Second is when the company is wind up. When the company is wind up means when the company is closing, they have means the preference shareholders have right to return the capital. Okay, to return the capital before that of equity shares, means before the equity shareholders, the preference shareholders have right to receive the capital. Okay, to receive the capital. So if these two rights are fulfilled, then the shares are called as preference shares. Next we'll see the types of preference shares. Now first type is cumulative preference shares. Now cumulative preference share are those shares, means the cumulative preference shareholders are the holders which are entitled, means cumulative shareholders are entitled to recover the areas of preference dividend before any dividend is paid on equity shares. Okay, now the cumulative shareholders have right to recover if there are any pending dividend. Okay, if there are any pending dividend left to pay to this cumulative shareholders, so they have right to recover all those pending dividend. Okay, now what does this means? Cumulative share means cumulative preference shares are those preference shares the holders of which, okay, the holders of which means the holder of cumulative preference shares are entitled to recover the arrears of preference dividend before any dividend is paid on equity shares. So this means, okay, this means that if in any year the profit of the company are insufficient, okay, if in any year the profit of the company are insufficient to pay the dividend on these shares, so the dividend keeps on accumulating until it is fully paid. So suppose in a particular year the profit of the company is not sufficient to pay the dividend to the preference shareholders. So in that case the cumulative preference shareholders, means the cumulative preference shareholders will get the arrears, will get the pending dividend in any of the following years, means in any year there is a profit, and they can get the dividend back of the last year also. So this right only the cumulative preference shareholders only get the right to get the pending dividend. Next type of preference share is non-cumulative preference shares. Okay, non-cumulative preference shares, the holders of such shares, okay, the holder of non-cumulative preference shareholders gets a fixed amount of dividend. Okay, they get the fixed amount of dividend. Now what is dividend? Dividend is nothing but the profit, okay, the profit which the company earns. So the non-cumulative preference shareholders gets a fixed amount of dividend out of the profit of each year. Okay, non-cumulative preference shareholders get the fixed amount of dividend out of the profit of each year, and if no dividend is declared in any year, okay, now suppose the company does not declare any dividend in 2020, okay, 2020. So due to any reason the company do not declare any dividend, so in that case this non-cumulative preference shareholders does not get anything. Okay, they do not get anything. So if no dividend is declared in any year due to any reason, such shareholders, means the non-cumulative preference shareholders, get nothing, and nor they can claim the unpaid dividend of any year in any subsequent year. If suppose in 2020 the company does not declare any dividend, okay, so in 2020 the non-cumulative preference shareholders will not get any dividend, and if suppose in 2021 the company declares the dividend, okay, and this non-cumulative preference share do not have any rights to claim the unpaid dividend of 2020, okay, in 2021. In 2020 they did not get any dividend, and in 2021 company declares the dividend. So this non-cumulative preference shareholders cannot claim the old, means the last year dividend in 2020-21. Okay, so they get a fixed amount of dividend out of the profit of each year. Clear? Whereas the cumulative preference shareholders can claim or they can get the pending dividend also. Okay, suppose in 2020 the cumulative preference shareholder did not get dividend. In 2021 they will get the dividend of 2021 also and 2020 also. This I am telling only for cumulative preference shareholders, okay, of the last slide. This cumulative preference shares, okay, see, they are entitled to recover the arrears of preference dividend before any dividend is paid on equity shareholders. Now in 2020, okay, 2020 cumulative preference shareholder did not get any dividend, okay, because company did not declare any dividend, and in 2021 the company declares the dividend. So this preference shareholders, the cumulative preference shareholders will get the dividend of 2020 also and 2021 dividend also. Okay, but non-cumulative shareholders will not get the dividend. Okay, now next type of preference shareholder is participating preference shares. Now what is this participating preference shares? Such shares in addition to the fixed preference dividend. Okay, now participating preference shareholders, they get the fixed dividend. Okay, but in addition to this fixed dividend amount, they carry a right to participate. Okay, participating preference shares, they get, okay, they get fixed amount of dividend. Addition to this fixed amount of dividend, they carry one special right. That right is to participate in the surplus profit. Okay, so participating preference shareholders, they get the fixed amount of dividend, plus addition to this fixed amount of dividend, they carry the right to participate in the surplus profit. Now what is the surplus profit? Now surplus profit is the profit after, means the profit after giving the dividend to the preference shareholders and the equity shareholders. The remaining profit is known as a surplus profit. Means suppose the profit, company has received some profit, and out of this profit company pay the dividend to the equity shareholders and plus to the preference shareholders. So remaining amount, okay, the remaining profit is called as surplus profit. Okay, the remaining amount is called as surplus profit. So the participating preference shareholders get the fixed preference, get the fixed dividend, plus along with that they have a right to participate in the surplus profit also, if any, and after dividend at a stipulated rate has been paid to the equity shareholders. First, to receive the dividend amount, first preference is given to the all the preferential shareholders, and after that the equity shareholders get the dividend amount. Okay, so the right to participate in the surplus profit is given to the participating preference shares. Okay, similarly, in the event of winding up, means in the event of, if the company is getting close, at that time also, after paying to the preference shareholders and equity shareholders, if there is still any surplus profit left, okay, if still there is any surplus profit left, so participating preference shareholders are entitled to receive the predetermined portion of surplus. Okay, if normally, okay, this is the second case of the participating preferences. If the company is winding up, if the company is getting close, so at that time also the company, if it is getting close, they have to pay to the preference shareholders, to the equity shareholders. Still after paying to this preference shares and the equity shareholders, still there is any profit left, okay, if there is any surplus left, so at that time also this participating preference shareholders can get, okay, means they are entitled to receive the predetermined portion of surplus. Okay, this is all mentioned in the memorandum of association and memorandum and article of association. It is mentioned before issuing any shares to the shareholders. Next type of preference share is non-participating preference shares. Okay, in the previous slide we have seen the participating shareholders. Now next is non-participating preference shares. Okay, now such shares, okay, non-participating preference shares get only a fixed rate of dividend every year. Okay, so participating, they get the fixed rate of dividend, plus along with that they get one right to participate in the surplus profit, whereas the non-participating preference shareholders get only fixed rate of dividend. Okay, they get only fixed rate of dividend every year, and they do not carry a right to participate in the surplus profit. Clear? So non-participating preference shareholders, they get the fixed rate of dividend, but they do not carry any right. They do not carry any right to participate in the surplus profit. Okay, now surplus profit I have explained, okay, in the earlier slide. That is, surplus means after paying to the profit, after paying to the equity shareholders and preference shareholder, the remaining amount, the remaining profit is called as surplus profit. Okay, so non-participating preference shareholders, they do not carry a right to participate in the surplus profit or in any surplus in case of winding up of the company. They do not get in the event of winding up of the company, if there is any surplus. So at that case also, at that time also, non-participating preferences do not carry any right to participate in the surplus profit. Okay, so now hope you understood the difference between participating and non-participating preference shares. Next type of preference share, that is next is redeemable preference shares. Next preference share is redeemable preference shares. Now such shares, means redeemable preference shares, are those which will be repaid. Okay, redeemable means refund, which will be repaid by the company within a stipulated period in accordance with the terms of issue and the fulfillment of certain conditions laid down in section 55 of the Company Act 2013. Okay, so redeemable preference shares are those preference shares which can be which can get the repayment by the company within a stipulated period, but there is condition kept under section 55 of the Company Act 2013. If the conditions are fulfilled, so these shareholders, redeemable preference shareholders, can get the refund of the money by the company. Next is irredeemable preference shares. Okay, irredeemable preference shares. Such shareholders, such shares are those the capital of which cannot be refunded before winding up of the company. Okay, so irredeemable preference shares shareholders, they do not get, okay, they do not get the capital before winding up of the company according to the section 55 of the Company Act 2013. Redeemable preference shares can get the capital of the company, capital by the company, if they satisfy or if they fulfill the certain condition which is laid down in the section 55 of the Company Act 2013. But the irredeemable preference shares, they do not get the refund of capital before winding up of the company according to the section 55 of the Company Act 2013. Next preference share is convertible preference shares. Now what are these convertible preference shares? Now holders of convertible preference shares have right, okay, the share convertible preference shareholders have right, okay, they have right to get their preference shares, okay, to get their preference shares convertible into equity shares at their option according to the terms of issue. Means the whoever is the holder of convertible preference shares, so this they have these shareholders get the right to convert their preference shares into equity shares, okay, into equity shares. So this is convertible preference shares. Now next is what? Non-convertible preference shares. Non-convertible preference shareholders, means when the holders of preference shares, okay, when the holders of preference shares have not been conferred the right of getting the preference shares converted into equity shares, such shares are called as non-convertible preference shares. So non-convertible preference shares means the holder of this particular share do not have any right to convert the preference shares into equity shares. Convertible means the shareholders of those shares can have right to convert their preference shares into equity shares. But non-convertible preference shares means the holder of the non-convertible preference shares do not get any right, okay, they do not have any right to convert the preference shares into equity shares. So this is the difference between convertible and non-convertible preference shareholders. So these are the types of preference shares, okay. So now we'll move to the next share, that is equity shares, okay. Now what are equity shares? Now basically equity shares means they are the true owner of the company. Equity shareholders are the owner of the company, and equity shareholders are also called as ordinary shares. Equity shares are also called as ordinary shares. So the equity shares are those shares which are paid, okay, which are paid dividend only when profit are left after the preference shareholders get their fixed rate of dividend, okay. So equity shareholders means what? They are the owner of the company, plus the equity shareholders are the true owner of the company, and the equity shares are also called as ordinary shares. Now equity shares are those shares, okay, means the shareholders of equity shares get the dividend, okay, they get the dividend only when the preference shareholders gets that dividend. After paying dividend to the preference shareholders, the remaining profit are paid to equity shareholders, okay, the remaining profit is paid to equity shareholders. Next is what? Equity shares means the shares which are not preference shares, okay. Equity shares means the shares which are not the preference shares, and there is no fixed rate of dividend, on equity shares, okay. So these are equity shares. Now next we'll say dividend. Now what is dividend? A dividend is a distribution of profit, okay. Dividend means the distribution of profit, means dividend. See, DIVIDE, okay. See this, divide is there, means we are dividing the profit between equity shares and preference shares, okay. So we are dividing the profit of the company to the shareholders. So dividend, okay, divide, we are dividing the profit amongst the shareholders of the company. So dividend is the distribution of the profit by a corporation or by the company to its shareholders, okay, to its shareholders. We are dividing, okay, DIVIDE, we are dividing the total profit of the company amongst the shareholders of the company. So dividend, in short, dividend you can refer to as a reward, okay, because it is a profit of the company, so you can refer to as a reward, cash or otherwise, so that a company gives to its shareholder, okay. So dividend can be issued, the dividend, company can issue the dividend in various form, such as cash payment. Either they can give the dividend to the shareholders in the cash, as a stock, or in any other form, okay. Next, a company's dividend is decided by its board of directors, and it requires the shareholders approval, means the company's dividend, means the profit, how much the profit is to be distributed amongst the shareholder, it is decided by the board of directors of the company, and the whatever board of directors decides the amount to be distributed amongst the shareholders, it needs the approval of the shareholders of the company. Okay, so this is dividend. Next is, what is face value and what is market value. Now face value of a share means the face value is the original cost of the share, means 100 rupees. Okay, 100 rupees is the face value of the share. Now what is market value? Market value is the price at which share is actually bought or sold in the market. Okay, this is the difference between face value and market value. Face value is the original price, original cost of the share. Face value is also called as nominal value, okay, or at par. And market value means the price at which the share is actually bought or sold in the market. This is market value. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is shares, types of shares, then types of preference shares, then equity share, dividend, face value and market value properly. I have explained the each topic in detail. I hope you have cleared all the doubts. Thank you. This is the end of the session. Thank you very much. Please subscribe my YouTube channel, like and share the video, and please do not forget to press the bell icon to get the latest notification. We'll see in the next lecture.